everyone. Welcome back to NOTIERS Frontiers Diaries. Today we are out and about on our motorcycle. We're in Illinois, in Chicagoland, so you will probably hear an airplane pass by at some point in time.
And what we've been doing in this little mini-series that we're doing of 2 up through Mexico. This was back in 2017, but we had a whole bunch of footage and we didn't really utilize it to the potential that I would have liked to. So hence, here we are presenting something that was quite a few years back, but it will build up and we'll go through Mexico and Central America and then South America and dive back into Africa, and hopefully by that time
that will have caught us up.
Yeah.
Because we've been on the road ever since, and so hopefully we'll be doing some more adventures this summer as well.
Oh, you know we will. So this little segment is from the book that I wrote, 2 Up and Overloaded. So just if you like these little stories and chats that we have, check it out in depth.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
These are stories from the times that we were in Mexico and Central America. So in our last episode, we had gotten to the city of Guadalajara in Mexico. And from there, we visited some friends in a nearby state of Colima. Apparently, Mexico is the United States of Mexico. I didn't realize that there was another United States, but there is. It's the United States of Mexico. So it's filled with all these different states, and Colima is the one. It's on the western coast, and we had a great time there, and we saw a horse festival, which for me was so cool because I love horses, and apparently people in Mexico do too.
Si quieren saber quién soy, pregúntense conmigo, yo soy el muchacho alegre. Entonces parece pero.
I love riding
Real
horses
live
around.
rancheros, or what are they called?
Caballeros.
Caballeros.
Or vaqueros is cowboys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they have cowboys there, and they were riding through the street. They
doing
love
these funky little trot dances and trotting to the side.
and they make the manes like really beautiful.
And there's all these beautiful leather saddles, and they're all decked out in chaps. And there's
So
little
cool.
babies,
They
not
put their
babies,
kids
but
on
toddlers.
horses,
It
sure.
was really cool. For
Kids
someone,
that probably should not be riding, but they are awesome cowboys already. Yeah.
cowgirls.
Yes, lots of women riding as well. There was a lot of horseback riding, drinking going on.
Yes,
so
this was a
drinking
party.
while riding.
Drinking and riding.
It was a party.
I don't think that's against the law.
But it was a really cool festival to see. And then from there, we went over to Mexico City. go into Mexico City because
I'm not a big fan of actually going into big cities.
Yeah.
I think we've said that a couple of times, but
Yeah.
you know, like Chicago is where we're from. It's cool. There's good music and stuff in all of these
Yep.
large cities, so there's a cultural blast. And so
some people love going through the big cities
Yeah.
and staying there for a while.
everything is tight knit.
exploring.
There's good music. There's good food. There's
Yeah.
good museums. But you know,
But for
I
us,
like
there's
the
a lot
more-
of traffic.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
try to avoid that. We like
And-
the open road.
Or who needs a museum when you can go?
To a Mesoamerican site.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right near Mexico City is one of the most incredible Central American ruins called Teotihuacan. And for me, this place was really special. Since I was a child and first heard about it, I'd always wanted to go there because these are Aztec temples that are so big, so incredible, and the history behind it is just massive.
It was really cool. I don't know all the history behind a bunch of stuff, but like just visually, you know, it wasn't like your pyramid that you think of in Egypt, but it was like these stepped, staggered pyramids. That the big one was called Temple of the Sun,
Yeah.
with like 300 steps, just under 300 steps.
Oh, those steps are so steep.
They're steep and they're narrow.
Yeah.
And so
I mean,
it's-
I have small feet, but still, like, you have to go sideways up
Yeah.
the steps. It's
and they
really
had
difficult.
chain handrails or
Yeah.
chain, you know.
But imagine, back in the day, the people who built these pyramids did not have any of that,
Yeah.
and they were going up and down, and I can't imagine
You
that.
must have almost killed yourself to try to sacrifice yourself. but a beautiful view from there. So this is like a whole like city that has been unearthed, excavated.
Yes.
And so in the distance there's Temple of the Moon, which is slightly
Yes.
smaller than the Temple of the Sun. And there's just this whole corridor. It's called the Alley of the
Avenue
Dead.
of the Dead.
The Avenue of
I mean,
the
they
Dead.
couldn't have gotten better names for any of these things. It's
Yeah.
so awesome.
So it was kind of like, you know, taking the elevator up to the top of the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower, and, you know, looking at the cityscape from there. It was
yeah.
a really awesome.
This is a Chicago reference,
This
by
is
the way.
you know, a very tall building and looking out at the surrounding area.
Yeah,
It was-
definitely.
It was really a unique thing.
It
That,
really was. And there were a lot of people there. That was the
There
one
were.
thing that, I mean, depends on what you like, but for us, we like places that there's nobody else there.
Yeah.
But because this site is right outside of Mexico City, which is one of the largest cities on earth, there are a lot of tourists there from other countries, but also Mexican tourists too, just busloads of
Yeah.
school kids,
And I mean, and
lots
des-
of people.
deservingly so, because it's a
Yes.
very cool site.
Yes.
I do feel myself like I would take a less famous site with, you know, a lot less people.
Yeah,
Like it just seems to be this more romantic.
secluded,
Yeah.
and you feel more like Indiana Jones. Like Indiana Jones wouldn't have been as awesome if there was like
Yeah,
20 more Indiana Joneses there.
this is true.
But I like to have it both ways, you know. I like to find those little ruins where there's nobody else there, but I also like to see these grand historic sites that
Yeah.
are just, you know, marked on the map for me. They're like bucket list, checklist places to go to, and
No, I'm
I
definitely.
like to see that
I'm
as
definitely
well.
glad we went. I would not
Absolutely.
have traded it for anything else. You know.
And they sold lots of really cool things there. They're
Everybody
selling crafts.
wanted to sell you a little knife made out of black onyx or whatever it was.
Yeah,
you know,
obsidian
obsidian.
things.
You know, it looked like the little daggers from Game of Thrones that could kill White Walkers. But you know, and then there's beautiful, beautiful arts and crafts and little
Yeah.
trinkets and little whistles that sound like
Oh,
they're
the little
growling.
whistles. There's like
You fill it with water, and then little kids and they blow on it.
they
But
sound like little jaguars or
Yeah.
something.
But
Yeah,
the
it's
good thing
cool.
about us being on a motorcycle is that, you know, we can just honestly be like, we cannot buy anything because
I mean, this is a good thing and a bad thing. Like, when you're a tourist, you want to also buy souvenirs, you want to buy things for yourself and for friends and family, and on a motorcycle, you just cannot buy that much stuff.
Yeah. Postcards, magnets, flat things, small things are very, very nice, you know.
Right. But that's pretty much it. Every once in a while we'll get like jewelry, you know. You have things from Central and South America.
In Africa. This used to be black, but now it's an albino elephant.
I have from Africa as well. So,
you know, and what was good about Mexico, as far as us being from the States, is it's relatively cheap and fairly reliable to ship some things home. We started out, I mean, the book is called Two Up and Overloaded, and right now it doesn't look bad, I don't have my panniers on, but we had
even more stuff than we have now.
We had.
Yeah, when we started,
so
we had a lot more. So we did send things home.
Yeah, I just swallowed a gnat, so give me a second.
Oh dear. One of the joys of being outside.
No. But, so we did send, nope.
So from Teotihuacan, we made our way eastward and stopped by the town of Puebla.
Viajando, mi viaje va empezando, fronteras voy cruzando para encontrarte a ti. Navegando, siento que estoy volando, la luna va sondeando, qué ruta he de seguir.
Which is right next to a huge, incredible volcano called Popocatépetl. I think I'm saying it right, not sure. And then there's another mountain, Ixtacihuatl. Totally not sure if I'm butchering this.
But it was very beautiful, very hilly area with these awesome volcanoes in the distance.
Yeah, and there's a legend behind them. I mean, one of them was like the lover of the other one, and then they, you know, somehow died, and one cried out of sorrow, and then they turned into these mountains.
There's two big mountains in the earth. There's always a legend that there were two lovers and some evil god turned them to stone. It's just, it's kind of, you know, a repetition that we saw as we've traveled across the world.
But it is really cool to see that these traditions from so long ago and these names have stuck here in Mexico. Whereas in the United States, I feel like there was a lot of renaming with European type names, but here, you know, you have these two mountains that still hold onto their old Aztec names, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, and it's just gorgeous in the backdrop.
Yeah. And it was a very hilly pueblo, which means village, and this was not a village by any means.
No, it's a big city.
It's huge, but
it's also a little bit cold there.
Right at altitude. Marisa's cold all the time.
I mean, it's just not what I expected from Mexico. I expected it to be just hot, absolutely everywhere.
But I mean, there's a lot of altitude. I mean, I remember when I went to Flagstaff, Arizona for an Overland Expo event.
And you thought, oh, Arizona.
I'm going to Arizona, it's a freaking desert, right? And so I brought shorts and short sleeve shirts and, you know, a small little, and I froze. And so
the altitude really makes a big difference. And Mexico has a lot of altitude. And this is something that became like a reoccurring theme throughout our travels in the Americas, is you have this ridge of mountains. Obviously in South America it becomes the Andes Mountains, but in Central America there's kind of this ridge of high altitude volcanoes that goes across the entire area, and this starts in Mexico, and that whole ridge, you can find some pretty high altitude places that will be quite cold.
Well, and we had to cross over from Mexico City to the other side, to the east coast of Mexico, if you will, the eastern states of Mexico. And we went over one of these ridges, and we got halfway up this thing, and it was just Stephen King's mist just engulfed us. And
the mist.
I couldn't see 10 feet ahead of me. Yeah.
It was so
We were in
foggy.
a giant cloud on top of a mountain ridge that we were just following. I couldn't tell if we were on the side of a ridge or at the top.
Dangerous. It looked like there was a cliff very nearby, because you could kind of see like the land falling away.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It was
any
just
wrong turn
an
would have
abyss
been
of
bad.
certain doom into this cloud that it could be 10 feet and you
Yeah.
might be like, oh, that sucked, or it could be a bazillion feet. I have no idea.
Yeah,
but
and you have to think if you're at that high altitude, it's probably more like a bazillion feet.
yeah, that's the number I'm going to use. But I was following the little white line on the right side of the road, and when it came into view, I knew I had to turn left, and when it disappeared, I knew I had to turn right a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my only guidance. There were rarely any guardrails, but if there were, that was the last ditch. Oh my God, you're way too close. You should have turned by now. But then we did butt up against a truck,
Yeah.
and I saw like just these two red lights, like a
I mean,
ghost
you were
ship.
very close to the truck, and you still could barely
Yeah.
see those lights. I mean, they just come out of nowhere.
Well-
and there was no way we could pass the
No,
truck.
no, that would be
No way.
kamikaze suicidal. But
Yes.
it's when he was going, his lights, even though they were still on, his rear lights, the red lights you couldn't see until he hit the brakes, and then they
Yeah.
were bright enough to go through the fog. And so I just slowly meandering down this
Right.
mountain behind this guy. No need to pass them, no need to go any faster than we were going.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we missed a lot of beautiful scenery.
That's
Because
true.
there's just been so much beautiful scenery ever since we got into Baja and then
Right.
into mainland. It's just,
We really lucked out with the weather, actually. It was always very nice,
Yes.
beautiful days. Every once in a while you'd get like a little drizzle, but this was some intense fog.
yeah. And then like somewhere on the other side of it, Marissa had to use the bathroom. And
See, this is a problem. I mean, it's a problem with being a female on a motorcycle traveling or any type of road trip, finding bathrooms, because guys, they just go on the side of the road. But if there's people around, I don't necessarily want to do that. Some women I've met have been quite skilled, but I do not have that skill, and so I'm always looking for bathrooms. And unfortunately, some of the bathrooms that I was finding in Mexico were,
less than par.
yes, exactly, they were
You know,
not
I can
ideal.
go in and get out like a Navy SEALs operation, and just get the mission over and get out, and everything is fine. But
Not me.
Marissa's got to hover for dear
And
life.
you got gear on, and
There's
it's
never
just-
toilet paper. We always
No,
had our
I
own
carry
roll.
toilet paper
That is
wherever I go
a
now.
life hack that I'm sure everybody knows. But
Yes, when you're not in the U.S. or Europe or a place that you might find toilet paper in a bathroom,
Yeah.
you have to carry your own. Absolutely.
yeah. And some of these structures were just 2x4 sticking out of the earth for what, 6 feet, and then
Yeah.
there's just garbage bags strewn from one to the other, just flapping in the wind like a crappy flag.
And these bathrooms are also used quite a lot, which is the other problem. And
there's
they won't be
busloads of tourists.
plumbing necessarily. They could
There's
just
none.
be
They're
holes in
outhouses.
the ground. And yeah, there's busloads of tourists that take these mountain passes, and they make stops, and everyone just goes to this one little hole in the ground.
Yeah.
So that is a bit
I
of an
mean,
inconvenience.
And I said it in one of the Baja videos, like I'm a big fan of just pooping in nature, but that can get quite out of hand as well. If
Yeah.
not everybody poops in a hole and everybody poops wherever they want,
Right.
like dogs, that gets,
You have to be like in nature
Yeah.
to do that. Right.
so, it's hand in hand, but
Yeah, but I went to the bathroom there, what could you do?
I stood
should
there
have
like a
not
guard.
gone there because it was so foggy. I mean, what did it
you
matter,
could, yeah.
right?
Yeah. But we did make it down to the other side,
We did.
relieved in multiple ways.
And the fog had lifted, and now we were on the other side of Mexico, on the Gulf of Mexico. it's just so beautiful there. I mean, the waters are calmer compared to the Pacific side. And we stopped by Ciudad del Carmen, which has a beautiful ocean front. And a guy there asked us if we wanted to
his dad owned a boat, and he said, we're going to go out tonight and cruise around. Usually we don't just hop on just random people's boats, but in this case we did, and I'm glad that we did. They were very friendly people. The kid looked like Bruno Mars, really friendly, and spoke good English. And we went around the bay. He was telling us stories. It was a
we
good
were
experience.
just really excited because this was going to be a whole new side of Mexico that we were going to, the Yucatan Peninsula.
Ooh, yes.
And since we had had such an incredible experience at our first Mesoamerican ruins, La Quemada, in the last episode, and now Teotihuacan.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to Mayan ruins, like the Yucatan Peninsula is just so famous for that. We were so thrilled to be going there.
I'm not known for my, up to that point, my world experience. But all I did know is that in the Yucatan there's cenotes and there's ruins and there's
beaches galore. I mean,
so I was very excited for
Yeah.
this next edition of our adventure.
And that's what we'll be covering in our next episode. So I hope you liked this one. If you did, please give us a big thumbs up and click the subscribe button below.
Ding, ding.
And we will be seeing you next time.
Peace, everybody.
Bye.
Stay safe.